Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back with another video. The purpose of today's video is for me to give you a short review on the F9 Fast Saga movie, which is the ninth movie of the Fast and Furious franchise, and I believe it's called F9-The Fast Saga. So it came out on June 25th, 2021, which was yesterday, Friday. It came out here all over Canada and in the States. I know in the States they also released it on June 25th. So this weekend is box office weekend, and I'm really interested to see how this movie will do this weekend because of COVID. You know, a lot of people are still not comfortable going out to watch movies. Like I know when I went, there were only 7 of us in the cinema, all of us, like in total. And so because of COVID restrictions and stuff, and also because people are tired of the Fast and Furious franchise. So I wonder how this box office weekend will affect their numbers. So will they do better, or will they do worse, or will they stay the same? I think they'll do worse, but yeah. So, before I get started, I want to let you know that my review will have spoilers. I will be talking about scenes and stuff. So, if you haven't watched the movie, I will be telling you what the movie is about. But I hope that if you watch this, you find it interesting enough to go to the cinema and watch it. Or if you don't want to watch it and you don't plan on watching it, you're not missing out much, but I hope you enjoy my review. So yeah, so the movie begins with Dom, played by Vin Diesel, and Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez. And we see Dom interacting with his son, Brian, named after the late Paul Walker. So we see Dom interacting with little Brian, and they live in the countryside, and Dom is teaching his son how cars work and how engines work, and he's passionate about cars, and we see him passing it on to the next generation, which is his son, right? So he's teaching, interacting with his son, and then they see Dom and Letty see a car drive into their house, and they're not expecting visitors, right? They live isolated, right? These are underground criminals, even though they're depicted as heroes who happen to save the day and the world from villains. They're still underground criminals because they also have stolen a lot of money, right? From politicians, from drug lords, from all this messed up people in in the criminal world, right? And they are part of the criminal world, right? They are escaping for the longest time. Dom was running away from the government. The reason why he met Brian, Paul Walker's character, is because Brian was after him as a police officer and as an FBI agent, right? So we see the same theme of them living isolated, away from the world, away from, you know, criminals, other criminals that are out to get them, as well as from authority and the law, right? So they're not expecting any visitors, and then so Dom gets out his gun and he's ready to, shoot whoever is in the car because they don't know who it is. And then they later find out that the unexpected visitors are their Fast family members, Tej, Roman, Pierce, and Ramsey. And the reason why they came and paid them an unexpected visit is because they were sent. So Mr. Nobody sent them an encrypted video, sent Ramsey, Tej, and Roman an encrypted video before his plane crashed, before he died, that his plane was under attack and Cypher was behind it, right? So they came to show Dom and Letty this video, and they came to try and get them to go after Cypher, right? And then Dom at this moment is like, no, like he's a father now. He's like, no, I'm a father now. It's not like before where I can just get up and fight people who are after us or who attack us. I have to make a decision, and the most important decision I have right now is my son. Even though Mr. Nobody is a family, we've seen how with the other movies, Mr. Nobody gave them resources like guns, weapons, military, cars. He gave them shelter in order to go fight against the villains. He gave them everything they need, the tools, the cameras, the surveillance. He gave them everything. So he was a very important tool for them in order to fight the villains. And the people who attack them, Mr. Nobody is part of the Fast family, right? So the fact that he died is very personal for Tej, Ramsey, and Roman, and even Dom. So even though he's saying that he doesn't want, he's thinking about his son and he has a lot to lose, it's not that he doesn't want to go and get Cypher. He just is traumatized, right? Because Cypher also killed the mother of his child, and that's what Roman Pierce, plays by Tyrese. He reminds Dom like, hey, this woman killed the mother of your child and your friend, Mr. Nobody. Like, if anything, this should make you want to go after him. But Dom decides that he can't, right? Um, but then, so Tej, Ramsey, and Roman leave. They say they're going to catch a 6 a.m. flight the next morning to go after Cypher. And Letty decides to later join them. She tells Dom that she loves his son, she loves him, but hiding and running away and being scared and not fighting is not what they do. They go after people who attack their family every time. It's part of them, right? Whoever is a threat to you or Mr. Nobody can come after you, can come after your son. So she makes it clear that she's going to go after Cypher. So she gets on a motorcycle and she rides off to join Tej, Ramsey, and Roman. And in a dramatic scene, the next dramatic scene, we see, just as about they're about to just about to I can't talk. Just when they're about to board the plane, guess who drives in? Dom. He drives in and he's ready to get on the plane. And we later found out that he left his son with Mia and Brian. So he joins them in going to the plane crash where Mr. Nobody and the other crew members died. But when they get there, they realize there are no bodies. Like Mr. Nobody's body and other crew members' bodies aren't there. But it's a chaotic scene. Obviously, a plane went down. So I hope we find out later what happened to the bodies. Um, then at the plane crash, Dom realizes that his long lost brother, Jacob Toretto, played by John Cena, is working with Cypher, and he was behind taking Mr. Nobody down. So this is where it gets interesting. This is when we start seeing the history with Dom and Jacob. So Dom is portrayed to have been the good brother, the brother who always had a good head on his shoulders and who the father favored. As John Cena's character Jacob Toretto, he's portrayed as at the beginning he's portrayed as the not like the bad brother, the one who was not as smart, the one who was not as strong, the one who was not as wise, the one who was not as ambitious, as achieving, and who was not as big. Even their stature, like Dom was very tall and masculine, and he was much smaller, right? In stature. So there's this jealousy kind of Cain and Abel theme they're throwing at us. This Cain and Abel biblical theme, like two brothers, and one like they both went different routes. One was not good. One was always jealous of Dom, right? And then, so we learned that Dom and Jacob's father, he was a NASCAR race driver. So the people who like race around the track, the circle track. So he used to do that, and he hired both his sons to work with him when they got older. So they would like wire his engine, take care of his car, give him a drink, support him. They were part of the team that helped him race in a NASCAR, right? So we find out that one day while he was racing, he crashed into the wall, and then his car exploded, right? And we see Dom was extremely traumatized from his death. And then basically Dom fights the man that crashed his car into the wall, and we see that Dom went to jail for that. So we see this the first time Dominique Toretto went to jail when he was young because he fought the man that crashed his dad's car into the wall and made it explode. So at this point of the movie, we think it's that man that caused his father's death. But when Dom is in jail for beating up that man, we learned that it was actually Jacob who caused his father's car to explode. How did he do this? So he basically wired the engine to make the car explode. His dad literally taught Jacob, Dom's brother, how to wire a car and to wire the engine to make the car explode once it crashes. And he did this. He did not want to do this, but this is their father's way of committing suicide. He wanted to commit suicide so bad because he was so deep in debt and he didn't want to humiliate his family. He didn't want to tell Dom. He didn't want to tell anybody. He was so far in debt that this was his suicide. And he made a decision that impacted these two lives, Dom and Jacob, right? They to go in different routes in life, right? They took a completely different path because of this. So we learned that Jacob was at the one behind it, but then we also learned later that it was not voluntarily, like he did not do it. His father pressured him to do it. His father pressured him to make him commit suicide, right? And so at this point of the movie, it's very important because this part is very important because it's all about decisions. Like we saw at the beginning, Dom trying to make a decision whether to stick with his son or go fight Cypher, right? And that whatever decision we'll make, he'll will leave an impact. And then we see that decision making and that fatherhood thing, like where his father continuously made decisions that impacted these two men's lives. Like from the beginning, even before the suicide attempt, their father treated both of them very differently, like favoring one child over another, which caused a resentment to begin with. They caused a strenuous relationship between the two, right? So again, the premise of this movie is fatherhood. Even though the trailer depicts brotherhood, it's actually fatherhood because everything about Dom's life and Jacob's life leads back to their decisions like their father made, right? Which in turn, Dom being loyal to his father, and him not having a background, we learned that he he raised his brother and told his brother to get out of their town, to get out of their city, and never come back, right? Otherwise, he'd kill him. And this is why Jacob went off and ran off and chose a different path and chose to work with Cypher, right? So yeah, sorry, I'm just reading out my notes. And then so Jacob is working with Cypher, and then at the end of the movie, he's also working with the rich, spoiled British guy. And we later learned that the rich British spoiled guy, I forgot his name, that he's working with Cypher to take down the world with their satellite in space. Yes, they go to space. Basically, he basically turns his back on Jacob and decides to work with Cypher, right? And then this is when Dom comes to his rescue, and Jordana, Brewster, Mia, and their sister Mia, they come to the rescue and they save Jacob, right? Oh yeah, and Mia's back. So when Mia found out that Jacob was involved, because Letty and the other Roman Pierce and Ramsey told Mia, she decided to join back. She decided to leave her kids and stuff to join and help get Jacob, right? Because he is also their brother, right? And also Han is back, so Han makes an appearance in this movie. He is back. We real cannot talk. We realize in this movie that Han was basically his death in season 6 when he died in Tokyo. Basically, that was not a real death, apparently, even though it was. Basically, we found out that Mr. Nobody helped fake his own death because Mr. Nobody he worked for the CIA and he already heard that Owen Sean was after him. So he decided to get to Han before Owen Sean did, and he decided to fake his death and keep him underground. So he's been living in his Tokyo underground, and when he went back to Tokyo, he ran into a little girl who basically they were after Cypher and his team because their parents had this thing and stuff. I didn't get that part of the movie, what she was holding, but yeah, it was connected to the satellite in space and could cause mass destruction and stuff. And her parents were killed, and they almost killed her. And Han was there to save her, and he protects her. They live together, and we see Letty protect her too. And this is the first Asian female in this movie, right? I will be doing a part 2 to break down the programming and the indoctrination of racism and colorism in this movie. Because everything we watch, there's a purpose. They're very particular with their casting, and I couldn't. The reason why I didn't want to support this movie is because I realized how much racism and colorism there is. So I will be doing that in a part 2. Overall, at the end of the movie, Jacob and Dom, obviously, Jacob joins the Fast family. He's welcome to their barbecues, their lunches, and stuff. Um, and also, by the time we realized that he did not intentionally kill his father, he was pressured to. That's when I realized that he's gonna join the Fast family. Because for all these movies, like even the villains, Owen, Sean, and all this, they all join the Fast family. They just get bigger and bigger, right? Sorry, I have a cold. So yeah, I gave this movie. It was better than I thought. When I watched the trailer, I gave it a 4 out of 10 because it was very dramatic, the action scenes. But when I saw it, it actually got me emotional. So I would give it a 6 out of 10. And would I recommend to watch it? I do. Like, don't depend on the trailer and make your decision on the trailer because I think the movie is a lot better than what the trailer depicts. So that's my review on the movie. I did give away some things in the movie. I hope you enjoy my little review, and I will be back with a part two to break down the characters and their role as leading their roles they play as lead roles and supporting characters, and how colorism and racism plays into this. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.